Okay, it's recording now. Did you?
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I didn't have any money, and I think I left the US with like maybe $400 US cash, right? But
and there was no feeling of like, I don't have a lot of money here. How am I gonna survive? How is this gonna? There was no like, anxiousness around the money.
Before I left, I would say I had more money fears than I did after I left, because one thing I was clear about was that living outside of the US would be dramatically less. Beyond everything else, I knew that me paying me and money would be good as a person who left the US in a country that I could pay a lot less than what I was used to paying to live, you know, in the US. So I would say I had a lot more fears about money before leaving the United States of America. When I left, I felt more at peace because I'm like, oh, I could do that. You know, like even if I needed to make a phone call and say, hey, can somebody, you know, hook me up? That's easy and I'm good, you know? So I didn't have much when I left, and that was okay because like I said, I had housing, I had, you know, I had different things already set up. But when I went to London, that's when I really started getting like a little scared because London prices are so high.
Expensive, yes.
I was like, this is horrible. Get me out of here. And so, you know, what we had to do was, again, thank goodness for credit cards. After I got the Airbnb booked, I went ahead and started to get my coins for the plane tickets to get back to Africa. And remember, I still had that membership with the women who were paying, right? So that funneled into my plane ticket money, right? But on the last day before we left, I had to figure out how we were going to pay for baggage. And I won't forget, we was in a hotel room, me and my daughter, and I was like, you call your grandmother, you call your father, you call everyone who you need to, and I'm gonna call who I need to. And we were able to get money for the bags, and for our next place to stay in Senegal, West Africa. Now, what I'll say about that experience is that was a very big reminder that everything that you need is always available. Everything is always available. It's always. Sometimes you got to reach your hand out and just pick the fruit off of the tree, but the fruit is there on the tree. So I was like, give thanks and praise. We got what we need. And we had to pay extra baggage fees because I didn't even mention this. I brought my father's remains. Yes, I brought my father's remains with me to Africa because my father never wanted to be buried in the United States. He said, don't, you know, Babylon and me don't have no business. So, you know, my father was the one who taught me about Africa. So I was like, if I'm going to Africa and my father don't even want to have nothing to do with Africa, I'm bringing him with me. I'm bringing my dad with me to Africa. And so even to Egypt, I took some of his remains and I brought it to the pyramids. I brought it to the Sphinx and I put it there at the Sphinx because he was the one who told me Africa existed. He showed me pictures, put me on. So I was traveling the world, not just, you know, without my money drip, but with my father's body.
Oh my God, girl, you have a book in you right now. You know that, right? You have a book, a movie, all of the above.
Listen, like I was really traveling with my dad, okay? I was like, and I was so scared when I left Egypt. First of all, when I went to Egypt with the remains, I was like, oh, what they gonna do to me in Egypt? I know what they gonna do. Because trying to tell people foreign that you got ashes, you know what I mean? Like, is it computing? Are you comprehending? Do you understand ashes when I say
did
that?
You have to pay extra for the ashes while you said that?
No.
Okay.
The process that you're supposed to do and what I actually did is two different things. You're supposed to have paperwork on the body. You're supposed to have clearance. You're supposed to have flight clear, you know, stamp of approval. Because people take ashes all over the world all the time, but there's a process. And I didn't know nothing about the process. And I was on a mission to do what I had been instructed to do. I was on divine assignment. So I was like, I don't know what they're going to do. Because think about it. It could be anybody. You know what I'm saying? It could
be like somebody who just got killed or something.
Exactly. Like, what if you are a serial killer and you know what I mean? Like, so I was like, oh gosh, they're gonna take me, they're gonna lock me up. And going into Egypt with the ashes, that was an experience because they were literally like, what is this?
Like at the airport, like customs?
Yes, coming out. They were like, what is this? And I was like, it's my dad's ashes. And my stepdad told me to say that. My stepdad was like, listen, because I was like, I'm taking his ashes and I don't know what they're going to do. And they're going to lock me. And he was like, listen, if they ask you what it is, just tell them the truth. Just tell them the truth. You don't have nothing but the truth. Just tell them the truth. So I was like, okay. So when they asked me, what is this? I was like, this is my father's ashes. And so they were like, what? And I'm like, it's my dad. This is ashes, Girl, I had about 20 people coming back and forth to me, 2 at a time, 3 at a time.
In the airport?
Asking the same question. I was standing at the table, the ashes are on the table. They asking me the same question. What is this? Okay, 2, I tell them, it's the ashes. They leave, come back, 3 more. What is this? It's the ashes. 4 more. Like, it's the ashes, y'all. It's the ashes. That's all I got. One guy, and there was one lady who was there. She was a customs agent, and she was just looking at the whole thing. And I mean, she is praying. Whatever Arabic prayer she had in her body, she was just praying. She was like, ooh.
So were you stressed? We talked about finances and your concerns with finances, but there's a level of stress when you're traveling to different countries because they have different rules, different regulations. They have strict laws. Sometimes you can be thrown in jail for things in other countries that you wouldn't in America. So was there a level of stress involved in, stepping into these other countries, especially with your dad's ashes, that you felt concerned stress-wise that you would have to deal with that?
For sure. There was a lot of stress because there's a lot of stress because I'm walking into a situation I've never been in before. This is the first time that I'm traveling outside of the US in a very informal way with no clear destination, with all of my belongings.
And that's another question, because usually in customs or when you're going through clearance, they ask you where are you staying, why are you there? They ask you very specific questions as to why you're in the country. So if you don't have a clear destination or a clear reason for being there, were you able to articulate like where you're going to be, what you're doing there, things like that?
So that is something that I will say is common in certain countries more than others. And that's part of why this experience with me nomading for 2 years has expanded the essence of who I am, my consciousness, my brain waves. It's morphed me and metamorphed me and metabolized me in ways that I wasn't even anticipating because, I had to learn, okay, some of what I thought would exist doesn't exist. Some of, America, places like America and UK are some of the most rule-centered places that exist in the whole entire earth. We are used to rules. We are used to, you can't do that. That is not the policy, blah, 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 blah. There is no leeway. Africa taught me things like negotiation. It taught me things like humanity. It taught me things like passion. It taught me things like having a conversation and explaining this. And let's get to the bottom of it. So in Egypt, I wasn't required to have a final destination, blah, 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 blah. I didn't need to have that. But in a place like Spain, which I was just transiting through after leaving London and going to Senegal, in Spain, the people didn't want to let me leave. They said, you have to have a return ticket. Or you have to have a visa, neither of which is true. Neither of which is true. But that was something that was created for that moment as a form of resistance. And it wasn't until I I in Spain, that was a whole situation because they refused to give me my transfer ticket to go from, I was just going from UK to Spain to Senegal, simple transaction. They refused to give me my ticket to go to Senegal and said, oh, you need a visa. I said, I'm a US citizen. I don't need a visa. I can go to Senegal. It's not a problem. I tried to show them the rules. They refused to let me speak to management. That trip was the beginning of what I felt like would be a lot of stress that I built up in one cloud of smoke that would then trickle with me even on other places. For a long time, I had some level of flight anxiety. For a long time, I thought they're gonna try to stop me. Like it felt like something was trying to stop me from doing what it is that I needed to do. And so yeah, when you say stress, there was a high level of stress. There was definitely a high level of stress because I didn't have a destination and I got all my stuff with me. This is my suitcase and I everything I need to live is here. Okay. I do not have a home, do not have a house. So that was that. But I will say that once we got to the motherland again, once we got to Senegal, and then we took a car into Gambia. And once we got to Gambia, I was like, okay, now.
My uncle lives in Gambia. If I knew you were in Gambia, I could have connected you. He's been out there for years. It's the Gambia. It's the same thing, right? The Gambia.
What's his name? The Gambia. Violin. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. He's been out there for many years now. He's very much anti-European. He was, in London like the rest of my family. But he's very anti-European and very much wanting to be on the continent. So he moved out there several years ago now. So he lives out there. But yeah, so next time if you go back, I can definitely my uncle.
Yeah, I have to go back. Gambia that is actually where I was told to place my father's ashes. So the remainder of his ashes, that's where he was ultimately getting back to. His roots are Gambian. My father is a Gambian. My father is ancestrally, energetically, spiritually, all things Gambian from my dad. So
before we came on Zoom, you talked about the tension between you and your daughter and how your daughter said that Africa wasn't really for her and she felt more comfortable doing the nomad or the starting her life in London. But when you realized she was going through depression and she needed her mother, you felt like she needed to be with you. So you were going to take her with you to Africa, but there was some tension there, feeling that wasn't her thing. So how did you get past that tension of her not even wanting to go to Africa?
I mean, the thing about it was that I understood where it was coming from. My daughter is not the first melanated person, the first Black person, the first Black woman to snuff Africa. She's not the first one to say, Africa is out and that. No. She's not the first one. I mean, the majority of us don't know anything about none of that. That's not our lane. Like it's by design. That's the thing about it. It's by design. It is by design that we were always fed with images of children with swollen bellies and flies and oatmeal on their faces. That's by design. Like the concept of people not having shoes or swinging from vines, that primitive image, we all had that. It's by design. Meanwhile, the same people producing those images have properties in Africa, have land in Africa, have invested in Africa, are mining resources in Africa, are pillaging and raping the land of Africa. Like one of the most surprising things to me being on the continent for 2 years was how many white people I saw. I felt like I saw more white people on the continent than I did living in Atlanta. And I was like, this is interesting. Because last time I checked, y'all told us not to come here. Last time I checked, that was the whole propaganda. This is a no. So for me, as a mother, listening to her say, no, I don't want to go, crying. She was crying. She was in tears. Mommy, that's not for me. That's for you. All of that. I knew where it was coming from. That's why I said I had to give credence to my father, because if it was not for my father Africa would not have registered on my peripheral. It would not have registered within me. I would not have connected with the continent.
Right. So you guys, so she was able to get past it to the point where you guys ended up traveling with the
She had no choice. My baby didn't have no choice. I was like, listen, I'm not going to leave you here in London, and I'm not sending you back, you know, because her experience in America was not that much different in terms of toxicity. It was a lot. You know, she was oftentimes minority Black girl in all white spaces, and it was very rough for her. So her and I set out to Africa, and honestly, if I called her right now to ask her what was her experience like, or if you asked her or anybody asked her, she will tell you it's one of the best things that ever happened to her in her life. It was the first time. I say this to any mother who does not know their children because their children are on this technology and disconnected from real life. I say that I met my daughter for the first time when we moved to Africa. I met her. I was like, oh, wow, hi, how are you? Like, she stepped
How old is your daughter?
Now she's 20.
20.
But at the time she was just turning 18. No, just she was 18. She was 18. So no, she was just turning 18. I was right. You was right, sis. Yeah. She was just turning 18. And so she really she came alive because she had to step outside of connecting with people via technology, and now people are speaking to her in her face and where are you from and who are you and you're so beautiful and what do you do here, and now there's connection. It's like it reignites something with humanity. Being in on the continent, it reignites all these elements of humanity and just gives the healing. A lot of being in the motherland is healing. It's healing.
So I feel like I'm interviewing you. So you went from Egypt to Spain. No, you went from London to Spain to Senegal.
Yes.
And then how long did you stay in Senegal?
I stayed in Senegal literally for it was probably a week and a half. Like we were just there to get to Gambia. Yeah. And when we got there, we were blown away. As a matter of fact, it's so funny. Every time we were going somewhere, it's like, oh my gosh, we should stay here. And then we go like, oh my gosh, we should stay here. And that's one of the reasons why I appreciate the concept and the application of focus, because had I not been focused on the mission, I would have been like, oh, Senegal is so beautiful. This is drip, drip, drip. Let's just stay here, because Senegal is just, it's francophone. It has l'art and la beauty and the ocean and Dakar, and it's just so it's like heaven. It's like a slice of heaven. Senegal is really a slice of heaven. So we went and we were there and we loved it, and we would have stayed had I not been on a mission to come to Gambia.
Right.
So yeah, so we came to Gambia. We stayed in Gambia for probably about 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
We were there for a while, and we made lots of friends.
And how did you survive in Gambia?
Okay.
What was your main source of income, housing, food, all of the good stuff?
So when we got to Gambia, the first order of business was housing. And that's one thing I will say about my guidelines and my values living on the continent. I didn't come to Africa, or I don't go anywhere to suffer. I don't go places to suffer. I don't, that's not what I'm here to do.
Suffering was not a part of the assignment.
Not a part. We don't do that no more. We're retired. We are retired. Okay. So I was like, I'm gonna need you to come up with a first class place for us, Gambia. Nadine, why you laughing? I'm so serious. I did not come here to suffer. I'm not gonna do that. What? No.
Suffering is not a part of the assignment.
We don't do that. What do we not do?
Got me in tears, girl. I'm crying.
I mean,
I'm in tears.
Not doing that. What you want me to?
No,
to be first of the first, best of the best of the best. That's all I can accept. I don't, but ma'am, you only have, I don't care. Work it out. Figure it out. That's my budget. Figure it out. Come on, chop, because I don't have a lot of time. Figure it out. No, not coming here.
I'm in tears. No. You're gonna have to pick up from that whole, I'm not here to suffer.
I'm just saying, so I didn't come here to suffer. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Nadine. She said, I can't with you. No, come on, Nadine. You know me. Sis,
no, I'm literally in tears. I'm like,
you are.
It's not a part of your
you so.
Suffering is not a part of your life.
It's not. I didn't come here for that. I just didn't. I didn't come here for that. No. I'm not doing that.
We are gonna have to. I have a 3:00. So we are gonna have to pick up with part 2.
Oh my God!
Conversation, because we have to move from like to hear about the housing situation and how you have first class living with not necessarily all the funding there. So
listen, you're gonna love this first class living too. You're going to be like, how did you? I'm going to be like, see, I told you I didn't come here to suffer. And my ancestors said it. The Most High said it. My spirit God, the angel said it. Everybody's on the same page. We all know the assignment. She is not here to give her first class. Or, listen, give it to her. Well, she only got $5. It doesn't matter. Make it work. Stretch it out. But this one, just give her first class so we can move on.
Oh my God, no one's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah.
Let me know what time.
Because I have the 3:00. I would, as you know, stay on and ask you a ton of other questions. But
of course,
we have to do a part 2.
This was the prelude.
Huh?
This is the prelude. This is like the sample on the Audible. Speaking of Audible, I published Audible.
Right, exactly.
I published my Audible book, so. That is what I'm going to be promoting for the next 100 years.
Yes, we will continue. So just let me know scheduling wise, or either send me a WhatsApp or whatever when's good for you. And we'll connect. Plus, I want to know what you're doing with business. We haven't even talked about any of that yet.
Haven't. And you got that nice, beautiful banner behind you.
Yes, I've had some shifts and pivots in my business. I know we talked about, what is the main thing that you're doing? So we need to talk business because, that's another thing that
of course, I'm here for it.
Exactly.
I'm here for it. And we haven't even caught up since, your friend had to run off the scene, with her bags. So
exactly right.
We have a lot. So next week I will be in Jamaica, but I would still love to connect because my life is always transitional. So I don't, I'm not stopping my life, for my life. Everything is included.
Yeah, so I'm more like situated as far as just here in Florida. So you just let me know on WhatsApp what works best for you.
How's Tuesday? Either Monday or Tuesday.
Not Monday. Mondays tend to be pretty hectic.
Okay.
Right, but Tuesday, and I'll put it in WhatsApp what time.
Okay.
When are you leaving for Jamaica?
I leave tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, I leave tomorrow early morning. I'm actually do you know you have to fly all the way back to Houston?
Oh, you're taking the flight from
Miami? Can you imagine? I got to go to the U.S. to come back to Jamaica.
So you're in Mexico, but you're going to Miami or Houston?
Houston.
Okay.
And Jamaica is right there. I'm like, y'all gonna run me all the way up there to.
All right, girly.
I love you.
We'll catch up. I'll let you know in WhatsApp.
Times that are good.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Be safe.
I will. I'll have fun too. Bye.